Russia captures the bomber assassin. He was hired by Ukraine. He was offered $100,000 to do this deed, plus a European Union passport. Everyone, Johnny here, Don't Speak News. That's 100,000 US dollars, by the way. Gee, I wonder how he got that. CIA's black fund, maybe? Just saying. Let me go ahead and mute this phone. While I'm at it, I forgot to do that before I started the microphone today. All right. Well, here's the story from Hal Turner Radio. There's a video here too if you'd like to watch it. It's very short and to the point. Russia has captured and arrested the bomber who assassinated General Igor Kirillov in Moscow yesterday. Now, the assassin appears in an arrest video below, confessing to the crime, explaining how he did it and why. He says he was recruited by Ukrainian special services and sent to Moscow for months to await instructions. A few months later, the parts of the bomb arrived with instructions. He said he put the bomb on the scooter, and when General Kirillov came out of the apartment building, he said he pressed the button. He admitted he did it because he was offered $100,000 US dollars and an EU passport. And like Hal Turner says, gee, American dollars and an EU passport. This has all the earmarks of a NATO operation. Indeed, it does. And as Hal mentioned on his radio show last night, within the Kremlin, officials are saying that they know it's NATO and that they finally went too far. And in fact, his intel that he had on this said that we know it was NATO, now they've crossed the line. Also, Russian security services are reporting to top officials in the Russian government that not only was the Kirillov assassination done by NATO, but that other NATO assets are already in and around Moscow, intent on assassinating President Putin next. Well, we'll see if they are able to accomplish that, but nonetheless, this is what the intel is saying, and it wouldn't surprise me if they tried. They really wouldn't, because they are determined to get this war started no matter what it takes, and that would probably do it. Although I imagine the country of Russia may be thrown into some confusion. I don't know what contingency they would have for that situation because I haven't studied it. But nonetheless, our sources say that NATO already has assets in place in and around Moscow intent on assassinating President Putin next. And he says, I suspect this assassination, like that of Archduke Ferdinand, which began that'd be World War I, may have the same effect, World War III. There's been so much meddling by the U.S. and NATO and our NATO vassals. So much harm has been brought to Russia and to Ukraine by the U.S. and NATO. So many red lines have been crossed by NATO along the way that it seems to me Russia no longer has any choice as to whether or not to hit us all, including the United States. History may not always repeat itself, but very often it does, or it rhymes, as he says here. And then here's the assassin video if you wish to watch it. It's a big red line, guys. I mean, now they're talking about, they not only assassinated, a high-ranking military general, but also they're talking about assassinating Putin himself. Well, let's not forget what this general did. From Andrew Korobiko's newsletter on Substack, Russia won't let the world forget about the WMD threat posed by Ukraine. The SBU's cowardly assassination of Lieutenant General Igor Kirillov won't stop his agency's work. No, it won't. Reuters cited a source in Ukraine's SBU on Tuesday to report that they were responsible for assassinating Lieutenant General Igor Kirillov, the head of Russia's radiological, chemical, and biological defense forces. RT reminded their audience that he was instrumental in informing the world about the WMD threat posed by Ukraine. This includes its American-backed bioweapons experiments, dirty bomb plans, and the use of chemical weapons against Russian servicemen in the Special Operations Zone. Yes, if you remember those videos I showed you a while back. Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova posted on Telegram that Krylov has been systematically exposing the crimes of the Anglo-Saxons for many years, with facts in hand. NATO provocations with chemical weapons in Syria, Britain's manipulations with prohibited chemical substances, and provocations in Salisbury and Amesbury, the deadly activities of American biolabs in Ukraine, and much more. He worked fearlessly. He did not hide behind people's backs. So we'll have to see how Russia plays this one. But some people are calling for them to deploy Oreshniks in Ukraine and in NATO countries themselves. And so that's what the scuttlebutt is from the Kremlin. But that's what the higher ups in Russia would like him to do. But of course, then everything escalates all at once. So we'll have to see what happens. But this is a big deal. And I would expect at the very least that Russia's going to strike Ukraine in decision-making centers in Kiev really, really hard. Sometime over this next week, we'll have to see. But this was a big deal. And like they said, like this newsletter says, Russia won't let the world forget about the WMD threat posed by Ukraine and all those biolabs all throughout the country. Now, we're going to switch back over to the drones. No, not the drones, Johnny. Well, we have to figure out the source of these things, don't we? And as I was thinking about this last night, I come across this story this morning. There's a reason why the White House and the U.S. government can deny these things, and it's because they're not really technically involved. The DoD has contracted out to these other firms in the private and civilian world to do all these tests. And here are some uncovered files that reveal a secret operation at the center of this so-called drone invasion and why the White House can deny it. And so here we go. Official records show that the Army has been developing and testing counterterrorism drones in New Jersey for years, amid claims of a government cover-up. A 2018 defense contract awarded $50 million to a private robotics company to develop craft capable of creating 3D maps of urban areas for a counter weapons of mass destruction program. The contract was given out by the Army's Armament Research, Development, and Engineering Center, which is located at the Picatinny Arsenal in Rockaway, New Jersey. Or gee, that's where the mystery drones were first reported last month. Isn't that a coincidence? Meanwhile, documents show the Federal Aviation Administration, the FAA, issued an air restriction alert on November 21st, prohibiting flights over the Picatinny base for special security reasons through December 26th, the day after Christmas. The White House has claimed the drone sightings, which coincidentally began on November 18th, are not a foreign adversary, pose no threat, are not a part of a U.S. military operation. Well, see, they can say that because technically that's true. Retired CIA intelligence officer Rudy Rodolfi told the Daily Mail that this FAA notice shows that U.S. drone testing is happening in the area. It's a warning for others to stay out of the area during those dates. While the nature of the testing isn't specified, it's most likely the testing of payloads related to reconnaissance. But Matt Sloan, founder of the drone consulting firm AI Skyfire, told the Daily Mail that the sightings could be a contractor developing these drones for the DoD. The DoD can then deny claims of third-party technologies if the drones were placed on a secure tech list for contract disclosures, which means the government is applying special restrictions to the information. The restrictions are added when technologies protect national security or to keep advanced systems hidden from hostile nations, and the developer holds primary liability if the government is not operating the drones. There you go. Plausible deniability is another way to put this. They can say, well, we're not the ones doing it. It's this company over here, but they're not going to tell you that because, as you can see, they can deny claims of third-party technologies if the drones were placed on a secure tech list for contract disclosures. That means the government is applying special restrictions to the information. And that's why they can stand there on worldwide television and lie and deny it, even if they do know who's doing it and what's going on. National security, once again, right? So a Picatinny Arsenal spokesperson told the Daily Mail that we can confirm that they are not the result of any Picatinny Arsenal or DEVCOM Armament Center directed actions. The government contract was awarded to a Maryland-based company called Robotics Research. The FAA alert could signal that the contract had approval to test drones in a public area. They could have been testing them in a different place on a military installation, and now it was time to move the testing out to a public area. Yes, for several reasons. One of them being a psychological operation, see how people will react. And if this is 3D mapping technology and they're testing it, that makes sense and why a lot of people are reporting them moving in a grid pattern. So it says here, while large swaths of New Jersey are seeing drones, the White House has noted that there are more than 1 million drones lawfully registered in the U.S., and many of the sightings could be hobbycrafts, airplanes, or even stars, which I'm sure some of them are. But nonetheless, we have seen them firing things. I'd like to know what that is, and so on. And now there's people getting in trouble for shooting at them. I put that on Telegram this morning, right here in this video, and what they found out about what's going on with these drones. And, oops, commercial time. They got to load all their ads. Amazing. So this is what they found out. This is Off Grid with Doug and Stacy. I'll put the link up to this video. But one of the things that he talked about was that being a big distraction for a spending bill that they're trying to get passed. As there's this huge spending bill unveiled in the Congress that provides more than $100 billion in disaster aid. That's one way they're trying to sell it and say that, well, this is a good thing. And that is. We do need the disaster aid for Helene, Milton, and all the other stuff going on here in the U.S. What they're saying here in this article, that Mike Johnson is a pathetic excuse for a Republican who has no business being a speaker, let alone a congressman. Don't they know that there's no Democrats, there's no Republicans, it's just one big uniparty? And they can all agree on things like war and pork barrel spending, which is what this bill is. It's huge. But that's not the worst part of it. The worst part of it, in my opinion, is this right here. Mike Johnson's new spending bill allows vaccine and mask mandates, passports, and expanded emergency powers, and gain-of-function research. Wow. Look at that. Isn't that something? I don't even know if I should have included that in this video. Now I'll probably have to keep it off of YouTube. Oh, well, that's the way it goes some days. But I'm not going to keep censoring myself every time that word comes up. But that's allegedly what's in the new spending bill. It allows V mandates, mask mandates, V passports, and expanded emergency powers, and gain-of-function research. Not that I believe in the gain-of-function research. There's many reasons for that, but I've talked about that in other videos. But there it is. That's the part of that bill that concerns me more than the spending that they're going to be doing. We obviously need disaster aid going out. That's a given. That should have been out a long time ago. But nonetheless, besides all the pork barrel stuff they're putting in there, including probably more stuff for Ukraine and Israel, who knows? But this is the part that gets me. And I've been looking into it to try and find the actual verbiage that's in the bill, but it's 1,500 plus pages, guys. So it might be a while if I find it at all. But that's allegedly what's in there. So I'll keep my eyes open for it. If you guys find it, please let me know and send it to me in an email or in the comments over here at don'tspeaknews.com, which is home base for all that we do. We might as well talk about that now since we're at the end of this video. I put up a new video from Leland Jones. It's actually an older one, but it's new to the website. It's from 2019, and it talks about the one world religion and how the Vatican, the Sanhedrin, and Islam are all going to be in this third temple. And so if you want to learn more about that, this is a very good video, guys, and it shows you how everything's already in place. They already had the 70 Nations Conference back in September of 2019, and they had an animal sacrifice on World Creation Day. So just saying, a blasphemous animal sacrifice, but that article is up on don'tspeaknews.com right now, and the video as well. And it's not very long. I highly suggest you go through it. Also, if you want to find us elsewhere, Rumble, BitChute, Telegram, click on this tab here, and all the links to find us are right here. I'm going to do some updating on that today. And if you'd like to support us, because we are listener-supported only, click on channel support, and that tab is right there, and all the links to support us are right here. And we thank you very much for that. Without you guys, we don't stick around. And if you want to subscribe or contact me, click on this tab. And here are 2 emails at Proton Mail and also at Yahoo. And then if you want to type in your email here and click on subscribe, then you'll be in. And every time I put up a new post, video, what have you, you'll be notified via email. And there we go. All that and much more. Over 2,500 stories now, right here at don'tspeaknews.com. And that is it for now. God bless, take care. Johnny Storm, Don't Speak News.